right, so I want to come on and say I saw Florida Macus. He made a video calling unfreaking believable where are the so-called truthers. I just wanted to say that there are a lot of truthers that were bringing this up and that got their channel taken away, and a lot of other stuff that seems like certain tech companies are coming after people that are critical of this. Now, I want to say that I still am critical of Trump, of saying that he wanted to go and grab the guns and due process after that. I have a big problem with this. Now, they passed this gun safety bill. I have a problem with what the truth is. On Lift the Veil, he interviews Wolfgang Halbig, who's an ex-trooper, and he also is a safety guy that goes to the schools, etc., etc. Lift the Veil does a really good interview, and you guys need to go and watch that. He calls into question all the stuff that we know about. It seems like anybody that is paying attention, there's no need to warn about this on channels or because people that know about it, and people that aren't paying attention aren't going to pay attention. They're not going to watch your video and be like, oh, all this, like, they don't know about it. They know about it. I have a big problem with this. And now all of a sudden, you don't have Second Amendment rights. If you are 18 to 21, you do not have Second Amendment rights. Florida Macus lives in Florida. I lived in Florida for a little bit. The Baker Act is something that is very, when you're down there, is very, usually you don't notice laws and stuff. I noticed the Baker Act. The Baker Act is like really big down there, where you notice, like, I was coming from California and it was a big deal. Like, I saw a lot of stuff with the Baker Act when I went down there. I saw a lot of the stuff, just, it's like in motion. And now all of a sudden, Florida, there's just a lot of stuff going on in Florida. People that are saying, oh, Trump is saying this, Trump is saying that, because he's playing like five-dimensional chess. I do not agree with you. We are having bills passed. Bills are being passed. So what do you mean 5D chess? Like, there's bills being passed. People can't get guns now if they're 18 to 21. That's not 5D chess. That's
gun grabbing.
I mean, if that happened under Obama, I'd be screaming just as loud. Florida lawmakers passed gun school safety bill 3 weeks after massacre. Florida lawmakers, spurred by last month's deadly high school shooting, gave final... And by the way, it wasn't the guy... He was flagged on the federal database for being an high-risk child. For one, he shouldn't have been suspended. He shouldn't have been suspended, first of all. Second of all, he was in the database. Third of all, there's eyewitness accounts of saying that there were policemen. That the girl thought that it was a teacher. She thought it was a policeman in all black. And it wasn't it was another person. So I think they had this at-risk person to take the fall. He might have wanted to do it, but they were not going to leave it up to him. This is just... It just rocks my brain. It doesn't matter. This video won't matter. Nothing will matter. It's already happened. It's done. It's happened. Florida lawmakers, spurred by last month's deadly high school shooting, gave final passage on Wednesday to a bill to raise the legal age for buying rifles, impose a 3-day waiting period on all gun sales, and allow the arming of some school employees. Swift action in the Republican-controlled State House, where the National Rifle Association has long held sway, was propelled in large part by the extraordinary lobbying efforts of young survivors from the massacre 3 weeks ago at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. But the legislation, while containing a number of provisions student activists and their parents from Parkland, Florida, had embraced, left out one of their chief demands, an assault on assault-style weapons, just like the one used in the February 14th massacre. The bill overcame strenuous objections to provisions permitting school staff to carry guns on the job. Critics say that will pose a particular risk to minority students who they say are more likely to be shot in the heat of a disciplinary situation or if mistaken as an intruder. Still, a group of families of victims and survivors of the shooting applauded the legislation's passage in a message posted on Twitter by a parent, Ryan Petty, whose daughter was among those killed, and urged Republican Governor Rick Scott to sign it. The measure will automatically become law within 15 days unless vetoed by Scott, who said on Wednesday prior to the vote that he had not yet decided whether to support the bill. You're in Florida, for God's sakes. Call this guy. Call this guy. Blow this guy up. 15 days. There's only 2 weeks. You guys are going to lose your... It's just... It's like, what? This video's not going to matter. This video's not going to matter. And they've already gone off everybody, and it's not going to matter. The bill's passage signaled a possible turning point in the national debate between gun control advocates and proponents of firearm rights enshrined in Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. It's not going to matter. It's already too late. You guys need to call this guy, Scott. The measure narrowly cleared the state Senate on Monday before passing in the House Representatives on Wednesday in a 67-50 vote. 10 House Democrats joined 57 Republicans in supporting the bill, while 19 Republicans and 31 Democrats voted against it. As legislators debated in Tallahassee, U.S. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos visited Stoneman Douglas on the first full day of classes since the shooting, while the accused gunman, Nicholas Cruz, was indicted on 17 counts of murder. Yes, he pleaded guilty. I think he was involved. I don't think he fully was the one that carried out this thing. Was he involved? Possibly, yes. He obviously came to the school. He obviously was there. I feel like he was there to take the fall. Were they going to leave it up to him to do everything? No. So, did he shoot people? Probably. I don't know exactly how it worked out. I don't know exactly how they put this operation together. But they sure as hell did. Schoolhouse Guardians. The action by Florida lawmakers represented both a break with the NRA on gun sale restrictions and a partial acceptance of its proposition that the best defense against armed criminals is the presence of good guys with guns. The bill would create a program allowing local sheriffs to deputize school staff as volunteer armed guardians, subject to special training, mental health, and drug screening, and a license to carry a concealed weapon. Each school district would decide whether to opt in. And by the way, if they do opt in, the insurance goes up. So, like 500%. So, they have they're obviously going to have that weighing against it. If they decide to opt in, there's insurance things that'll kick in. Nearly all classroom teachers are expressly excluded from participating in a compromise aimed at winning support from some Democrats and Scott, a staunch NRA ally who nevertheless is opposed to arming teachers. Otherwise, only non-teacher personnel are eligible, such as administrators, guidance counselors, librarians, and coaches, but not teachers. Florida would join at least 6 other states, Georgia, Kansas, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Wyoming, with laws allowing school employees to carry firearms in public schools, according to the National Conference of State Legislators. President Donald Trump has voiced support for arming teachers as a deterrent to school gun violence. Though many parents, law enforcement officials, and policymakers in both parties reject the idea. Quote, the thought of even one student being gunned down by the person responsible for educating and caring for them is just too much, Representative Amy Mercado, a Democrat from Orlando, said during the House floor debate. She and critics decried the lack of an assault weapons ban in the bill, though supporters noted that most school shootings in the United States are committed with handguns. The online statement Petty posed on behalf of victims' loved ones said, quote, we know that when it comes to preventing future acts of school violence, today's vote is just the beginning of our journey. Oh my. Scott told reporters he would review the bill line by line and consult with victims' families before deciding his position. Well, are the victims' families the ones deciding everyone's constitutional rights? And I mean, that doesn't seem. I understand about the victims' families and stuff, but this is like about everybody that's in that state. Besides his objections to arming teachers, Scott is on record as opposed to extending Florida's existing 3-day waiting period for handgun sales to purchases of all firearms. The bill would also raise the legal age for all gun purchases to 21. The minimum age for guns, handguns nationally is 21, but a person as young as 18 can buy a rifle in Florida. Let me read that again. The bill would also raise the bill would also raise the legal age for all gun purchases to 21. The minimum age for handguns nationally is 21, but a person as young as 18 can buy a rifle in Florida. Cruz was 18 years old when he legally purchased the semi-automatic AR-15 assault-style rifle used in the Stoneman Douglas massacre, according to authorities. The measure would also allow allows police to temporarily seize guns from anyone been taken into custody for involuntary mental examination to seek a court order barring a person from possessing firearms if that individual is deemed dangerous because of a mental illness or violent behavior. Now, this is the Baker Act. This is being implemented in Florida hardcore. So I'm telling you, this is a problem. There's red flags on this. Cruz had a history of mental issues, numerous encounters with police, and was expelled from Stoneman Douglas last year for disciplinary problems, according to authorities. Blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, this is a problem. It's just going to be implemented. People need to call in Florida. People need to call this guy Scott. Call this guy right here. Call this guy. Blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Where's this guy's first name? Rick Scott. Call Governor Rick Scott and say this. Do not sign this. And I don't know what else to say.
I'm afraid it's not over.